certain special characters work and some don't, and rather than worrying about the ones that don't, just stick with underscore, use upper and lowercase. That's what most macro creators use for macro names. So a name here might be, for example, highlight or select number cells. Remember, we'd like to highlight just the cells that have pure values. And if you're thinking of values, maybe that's a better word. And if you'd like to accentuate the idea that this is somewhat like a sentence, maybe we'll put a space in here. But we'll use the underscore character. You cannot use a space. So highlight value cells, meaning numbers. And let's give this a keystroke shortcut. And by the way, we have 52 choices here. To help you remember this, perhaps V for value, that might be one. But if we use Control V, we won't be able to use that shortcut for paste anymore. So without holding down Control, but holding down the Shift key right now, I'm going to press V, and we see what happens there. Now, let's say we want to store the macro in this workbook. We want to test it out. Now, eventually, we'll learn that there might be a better place called Personal Macro Workbook if we want to make this macro available for other workbooks. Let's say for the moment we just want to confine it to this workbook. We want to test it out, work with it for a little bit. Provide a description? Sure. It's probably the last thing that we do sometimes, and sometimes we don't do this. Perhaps the name by itself is good enough. On the other hand, if you want to be a little bit more helpful, not only to you, but to others who might be using this, maybe we'd start by pasting this here, and then maybe filling out a comment or something. We could possibly use Control. Critical, but on the other hand, now, when we do, it gets recorded. So if you scroll or if you happen to click on a cell, those things get recorded. So as we click OK here, first of all, do notice in the lower left-hand corner of the screen, before we click, you see the word ready, placed with a square that says a macro is currently recording, click to stop recording. So we're in recording mode right now. And the steps to highlight the value cells here begin on the Home tab. So we'll click this. And the extreme right button is Find and Select. And although we could choose constants, it would highlight ID numbers and it would highlight text as well. So let's not use that. Let's use the go-to special sequence that's not so widely known perhaps. And here we want to choose constants and then not choose text, logicals, and errors. And as we click OK, only cells highlighted in this worksheet are those that contain values. And since we want them to stand out more prominently and we don't want to lose this selection, immediately we want to go to the Fill Color button in the Font group on the Home tab and choose a background color that more or less makes sense here. Perhaps this one, good enough. And those cells are of that color. Now, it's not major here, but those cells currently are selected and in color. If we simply click in A1 or some other cell, you'll see how it changes slightly. And the active cell is in one location rather than having all those be selected at once. So that's all we need to do. Now, if I do scrolling right now, that's going to be in the macro. If I go into a command sequence and back out of it and choose nothing, that will not be in the macro, but nearly everything else is in the macro recording process. So again, the idea is to stay focused as you do this. We're ready to stop recording. And there's the button at the bottom in the lower left corner. Click to stop recording. We've stopped doing that. We could test it on this worksheet, just doing an undo. Now you can undo steps you've done manually, but you cannot undo actions taken from actually running a macro. It might seem a little confusing for the moment, but I'm going to uncheck this and then go here and imagine that we want to test this macro. So the active cell is anywhere in the worksheet. I'm going to press Control-Shift-V, and all those cells are highlighted. And to test this a step further, I'm going to go to the next worksheet in this workbook. It's called Profits. And again, the question would be,